Hello, and once again, we are live with the Modern Mystery School UK EU podcast and YouTube channel. And yes, we are joined by the lovely Anna today. Anna, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. And again, excited because I'm going to have to explain to the viewers out there that I'm going to be asking you why you decided to become a guide in the mystery school. Now, most people won't know this, but only a handful of people that apply to be a guide get accepted, number one. And they have to have done an enormous amount of work along the spiritual path and such like. So congratulations to you, because I know you've just become a guide in the mystery school, and I know that you have many of your clients already that are on the path and such like. So you're leaping and bounds ahead before even getting the guide initiation. So this is wonderful news, and I'm just really interested to understand why you wanted to become a guide in the mystery school.
Yeah, well, it's a big question, and the first thing, it's such an incredible honor. And I didn't know what a guide was until I found the mystery school, of course. But when I started to walk the path, I realized that that's what I was always here to do. That this is my purpose, and so to be at this point it's such an honor. It's such a privilege, and I feel so excited about what's to come and what I can do to help others with this. I think that everything in the mystery school is about, it has to relate back to the path and to the lineage, and so I had success before I found the mystery school. I was helping people. I'd had a corporate background, and then I became a mum, and the corporate life and being a mum weren't merging well. They weren't mixing, and so I left the corporate world and I set up a business and moved into wellness and started to really get into the world of yoga and nutrition and caring for our bodies, but also loving ourselves and the importance of that. And so I really studied gratitude and heart coherence and all of these modalities that we know help us. But I was still knocking, the work that I was doing was helping people, and I could see that it was helping people, but it wouldn't necessarily last, it would, and it wouldn't necessarily last with me. It would stay and then it would go, and it would, I was like, there must be more. And I knew deep within myself there was something more. So I was always looking for another answer, and I was training in all of these different modalities and all of these different things. And then I saw the words mystery school, and something inside me knew. I remembered that I remember about reading about the mystery schools in Tibet, and they were hidden in plain sight. And I remember knowing that as a child, and some things all coming together, and I didn't know what. I just knew that this was something I needed to go along. So I was Googling the mystery school, and then I emailed you and you said come along and and to take these steps and activation and initiation. And I didn't know I didn't know at the time what that was. And then took those steps, and for me nothing immediately changed. I didn't feel very much. I got some interesting information. I had a lovely time. Met some incredible people, and then I went home and used the tools, and things started to change, and I started to grow, and I started to think differently, and I started to see things differently. And something that I've realized about myself is that I am extraordinarily sensitive, and so it was difficult for me to be in the world because I would feel things, and I wasn't able at the time to, whilst the tools I was using had helped me so much, I wasn't able to differentiate what's me, what's other people. So I started to really be able to separate that, and I was getting stronger, and I was getting clearer in my mind and clarity about who I am and who I came here to be. And so I was building a relationship with my guides and with the angels, and really starting to have a greater sense of this physical world and the magic of it, and what it really is, that it's not just this physical dimension. So everything started to come alive, and everything started to have more joy. And so I started telling people about this path, and I've been coaching and mentoring for 10 years or so. And so I was running groups, and I could see the difference between people that had been initiated and people that were on that path to maybe do that at some point, and they were growing more quickly. And so initiation and the path is about an accelerated path of progression. It's about bringing that energy in so that we can clear up our structure and know ourselves. And to me, that's so exciting that I haven't found I haven't found that anywhere else on the planet. And so the tools are extraordinary. I mean, they've got the lineage behind them that's never been broken, and so it's just such a special thing. And I think what's really important is that this is for everyone. This is universal, and that leaders, it's the missing piece for me. That I've done, and the people that I work with have done all the things, but there's this piece that's missing, and it's our connection to spirit. And spirit is who we are. So if we don't know how to connect to spirit, then our body's going to become unwell, our mind becomes unwell, because we're pulling away and we're separate from the truth, from the light as it wants to come down. And so, why would I want to do anything other? As I knew this, and as I learned this, and as I, grew, and I felt this joy within myself and in my life and in other people's lives. And my son he's not initiated because he's still young, but he receives activations and he is thriving, so much so. And my husband is thriving, and he's been walking the path, and there's just joy. There's joy in places where there wasn't before. And so why would I not want to share that? The greatest honor, the greatest opportunity to be able to share that with the world and with people who are looking to really grow into who they truly came here to be.
I 100% agree. And what's interesting, I mean, I might be, oh my goodness, I don't know.
You're a bit biased.
I don't know if we should discuss this, but I'm going to go for it anyway. But growing up in the UK, and admittedly, this might not be everybody's experience. So I am just talking for myself, but growing up in the UK, there was at school for me a huge separation in that we were being led to believe in science is the true thing, and then this thing called God, we could call it religion or whatever it was, is something that the older people used to do. It's not really real. Of course it can't be real. And I think that was a major problem for me, because then that immediately cut off this access to spirit or God or the universe, the source, the angels. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but essentially God and the divine.
Yeah.
And so then there's this massive piece, and I can, trace it back, okay, I can look after myself mentally, I can look after myself physically, but then I wasn't looking after myself on the spirit level. And it wasn't working, because, as you said, we're so far away from who we truly are. And I look out and I see that as a major, key that people could take. I mean, and as we say, we're not the only path, but taking that key and training or receiving that those tools to help us grow spiritually, it's not just for woo-woo people.
No, it really isn't. It's for leaders, for business people, for people who have born to be light workers and to share the light. It really is. I would love to see this and these tools spreading around the world, but going into businesses, in corporate, I've got a corporate background. It's what's missing, it really is. And I'm the same. I went to school, and I went to a C of E school, so the relationship with God just felt a bit like, oh, you sang hymns and you didn't really have anything explained, and you went to church at Easter, and so all of the magic in me and the things that I just loved as a child slowly went out. And so I kind of used other things to try and find that joy, but it wasn't in anything else. And so, I put myself in lots of harm. I tried all sorts of different things to quench the emptiness that I was feeling. And I think so many of us do that, chasing success or climbing these ladders, which are actually, they're not fulfilling at the top. And so I know so many people that do that. And I think it's really important to say that we can have both, we can have success in the world, and know ourselves as spirit. I mean, and when we combine those, extraordinary things can happen.
Yeah, and like you said, people can use all sorts of different things to fill that gap. It could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be drama of, like the constant, because, maybe I guess in the modern day, I guess it could be social media, anything just to kind of feel that something. So you're so right. And it is a huge missing piece. And I'm glad that you've brought it up, because I know we joke about the woo-woo, because I get called, for people that don't perhaps know, and I say what I do, they go, oh, you're into all that woo-woo stuff. And I'm like, well, I guess, but
but you're kind of like the least woo-woo person I know. Not woo-woo, and I think that's a really important message, that it doesn't have to be go and live off grid, go and put your tie-dye trousers on and do those things. It's not that. It's like, how do we be successful from a place of royalty and grace in life? And you can do those things, of course, but it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't need to be like that. This merges with business. This merges in the corporate world. It really, really does.
I think like what we're talking about is like the kind of the stereotypical, like people what you imagine it to be.
Because when I get introduced to people, that's what people say to me. You go and hug trees in the, and like, well, there's nothing wrong with that, but actually not all the time. I do love hugging trees. I do. But yes, all joking aside, it really is very much about applying magic in a very methodical and orderly manner to create what we might know in the modern day world as these quantum shifts, some things that are beyond the logical. Exactly. And and that's the thing I'm so passionate about teaching and sharing, is that magic is just things that we haven't understood yet, that we're extraordinarily powerful beings who are multidimensional. And as we start to really step into that, then of course you can change reality. Of course you can change your life. Of course, then, for things that we don't understand become magical. And that's what magic is. And so why would we not want that in our lives?
So for people out there, our time is whizzing by, but for people out there who are not sure, what this is or what this could be, what would be your advice to them? What would you say to them?
Start with a life activation. I mean, there's nothing to lose. It's an 1.5 hour session. It's a wonderful session. It's a full energy balance, and take it from there and see what happens. I think that's a really, really good place to begin, and have an open mind and look to the people that are, working in the mystery school, and just, you don't know until you've tried. I think experience is really, really important. And so give it a go and see.
I second that. Give it a whirl. What have you got to lose? And as they say, thank you so much. Thank you so much for chatting to us. And if you want to contact Anna, how can people reach you if they need to get in touch with you and just want to find out, maybe a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. Well, I tend to be all over social media, but my website is anna.a.com, so www.anna.a.com, and my contact details are there. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you again very soon. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you for having me. Lots of love.